Now, I don't know. I didn't plan this, but this is all kind of within the same themes of like, who do you serve? Why do you do what you do? Who are you being influenced by? I guess that's the theme of this live stream today. Who do you truly serve? Your flesh or God? It can't be both. Can't serve both. You know what I'm saying? You just can't. Now, I saw this story that came out. It said that this man got 2 women pregnant at the same time. Now, this wouldn't be the first time that somebody has gotten 2 people pregnant at the first time. At the same time. But the unique part about this story is that allegedly, apparently, this is a mother and a daughter who are both pregnant by the same man. Now, I'm going to say this right now before we really get into it. I believe that this is a fake story. And I actually think that makes it even worse. And some of y'all might agree with me. Some of y'all might disagree with me. But I'll tell you why I say that in a second. But I believe this is a fake story. I think this is just a promotional attempt. But let me play the video, and then we'll have a conversation.
They're in the same husband and baby daddy. It's a beautiful thing. Mother and daughter sharing the same husband and baby daddy. You know, it's such a beautiful thing.
It's not often that a mom and daughter are pregnant at the same time, let alone by the same man, but we wouldn't want things to be any other way. So when I found out that my mom was pregnant and by the same man as me, you know, honestly, it was unexpected because, again, we weren't trying at all for a baby, but I don't think there was ever a moment in my mind where, you know, I was upset about it. It was pure joy and bliss for me, like, to know that I get to carry a baby alongside the woman who birthed me. And that our baby's gonna share that, you know, DNA from the same man. And, you know, he's been so supportive and sweet, and I couldn't imagine things any other way now.
I really crave the sweet and salty. And so, I mean, anything from potato chips dipped in ice cream to pizza drizzled with chocolate. I try to get Nick to...
It's a beautiful thing.
I think it's fake, 1,000%. This is what E! News said, which... you know, isn't always the most reputable. But they said in an announcement that many are calling a hoax, which I myself agree with, this is a hoax. OF model, her name doesn't really matter, and her mom were impregnated by a YouTuber. And it said that it's amazing to be able to share our love and inspire others to try out an unconventional relationship. This is what they said on February 18th. And then they go on to say that I don't think any of us have ever been happier. And the dude's name is Nick. The dude who allegedly, you know, got them pregnant his name is Nick. And they said that they're going to name one of the kids Nicole and the other one Nick Jr. So Nicole and Nick Jr. Now, I think all of these individuals are adult film stars or adult film, you know, content creators. And I think this is 100% for promotional purposes. And I don't think this is real for a lot of reasons. I mean, let's just go with reason number one.
Baby daddy.
And I didn't want to get too into this. I didn't want to get too into this. But the mom's belly, it looks like she just stuffed a pillow in her dress. Like, you seen that video? Never mind. On top of that, They have also been known to do pranks like this in the past. So I'm not just sheerly saying that just based on like me looking at it. I'm just saying like they've been known to do this in the past strictly for promotional benefit. And ultimately, what does it come down to? Ultimately, what does it come down to? Let me read this. 1 Timothy 6. 1 Timothy 6. False teachers and true contentment. Teach and urge these things. If anyone teaches a different doctrine and does not agree with the sound words of our Lord Jesus Christ and the teaching that accords with godliness, he is puffed up with conceit and understands nothing. He has an unhealthy craving for controversy and for quarrels about words, which produce envy, decision, slander, evil suspicions, and constant friction among people who are depraved in mind and deprived of the truth, imagining that godliness is a means of gain. I'm just giving you some context before we actually read what I want to really get into, but this is all valuable information. The whole Bible is valuable information, obviously. Verse 6, but godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we cannot take anything out of the world. But if we have food and clothing, with these we will be content. But those who desire to be rich fall into temptation, into a snare, into many senseless and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. Verse 10. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evils. It is through this craving that some have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many pangs. It's just so sickening to me that, we live in a world that will literally do anything just to get a check. You're okay putting yourself out there on the internet forever saying that you got your girlfriend and her mom pregnant at the same time, and that you're okay with that, and that you're happy, and that you're excited, and you're actually encouraging people to explore this alternative relationship. You're okay with doing that. Why are you okay with doing that? Because you're promoting people to go to your OF so they can watch explicit content, so that you can enrich yourself. You don't care about people. You don't care about your audience. You simply care about yourself. You simply care about the numbers in your bank account going up. You don't care about the impact that your content is going to have on people. You don't care about the bondage that your content is going to place people under. You don't care about that. You simply care about the money because you love the money. I think it's so interesting. If you look at the verse that we just read, right? It says, for the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, is a root to all kinds of evil. This is just like one example, very basic example. But I think it's so interesting when you look at different root systems, and there's different root systems depending on the plants. But this one was very interesting to me, where you have the stem and then you have what is called the tap root. So you have one root, right? And then you have a secondary root that comes out of that. And then you have a tertiary root, so a third root that comes out of that same root. And it just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. And it's interesting. It's interesting. And also when you look at it from like a definition standpoint, it says that the roots, this is a part of the plant that is mainly responsible for anchoring it down into the ground. So the roots are a part of the plant that is responsible for anchoring it down into the ground. So the love of money is a root for all kinds of evil. I just imagine the more and more that you serve money, the more and more that you fall in love with money, the more and more that you make money your God, you're creating all these different roots. And at a certain point in time, you have this elaborate root system that you've created. And that is all anchoring you down and keeping you in bondage further and further and further and further. And the more that you go in that direction, the more love that you have for money, the more anchored and more tied down you are to it. And then you get to a point in your life where your entire perspective changes. The way that you view the world completely changes. And now you no longer view the world in terms of being kind to other people, in terms of doing things and acting in people's best interests. But now you view the world in terms of, how can I use this situation to make the most amount of money possible? How can I use this person to make the most amount of money possible? How can I use this platform to make the most amount of money possible? You've completely developed this manipulative mindset that is all rooted in your desire to fulfill yourself constantly with money. Furthermore, you look at Exodus 23:8. Exodus 23:8, which is described as the covenant code. And this is not like the covenant code. It's not a term that's in the Bible, but it's used to refer to the set of rules in the books of Moses. And one of those rules within the covenant code that was given to the Israelites was Exodus 23:8. Exodus 23:8. And it says, "You shall take no bribe, for a bribe blinds the clear-sighted and subverts the cause of those who are in the right." You shall take no bribe. And you could really say that when you love money, and I'm not saying money's bad. I say this all the time. Money is a tool. Money is a resource that you can use in order to enhance your life and also to enhance the life of others around you. You can use money to be a blessing. But if you fall in love with money, then it will become a curse, right? But I think it's interesting when it says that you should not take any bribes. I think the reason why this is said is so insightful, because it blinds the clear-sighted. So this love of money that you have, it literally blinds you. You can't see the same. Your perspective is altered. It blinds the clear-sighted, and it subverts the cause of those who are in the right. It subverts the cause of those who are in the right. It's dangerous stuff. That's dangerous stuff. And we see it happen time and time and time and time again. And I think the longer that we're here on this earth, those root systems that I was talking about of these individuals who love money, these root systems that are anchoring them down, it's becoming more complex. It's rooting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And we're seeing those complexities play out in the ways that these individuals are willing to compromise themselves in order to make money, to compromise others in order to make money. And it's crazy. And it's scary. It's scary. Because you could find yourself doing something for God. You could find yourself walking in the right direction. But if you get to a place where you start to put money above God on that same path, you could be subverted. And you could actually find yourself walking away from that same path that God put you on in order to serve the money. And I think that's a warning for all of us. Once again, I don't think money's bad. But the relationship that you have with it could 1000% be bad. But that's a crazy story. It's a disgusting story too. It's a disgusting story. Pop Sosa said, dude talking about himself. If that's what you believe, then that's what you believe. You know what I mean? If that's what you believe. You know, if I'll put it like this. I could be doing a lot more to make a lot more money, but I'm not doing it because it's not all about the money for me. I could literally be on here every single day, posting 10 videos per day, having all the merch, selling all the courses, doing all the brand deals that come into my email. I could take every one of those brand deals. I could take all this, this funding that these companies are offering me to fund my channel in order to grow my channel and to invest in. I could do all of that, and I could make a lot of money in doing that. But ultimately, like I said, and it goes back to the conversation that we were having, we have an eternal calling that far exceeds what's happening here on earth. And I just don't see any value in just sheerly focusing on running it up and just sheerly focusing on chasing the bag. Like, that doesn't satisfy my heart. That doesn't excite me. Leading people to Christ, that excites me. Showing people a different perspective in terms of what's happening here on earth, that excites me. Like, all the other stuff is just vanity. It's here today, it's gone tomorrow. Can't take it with you. Doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? But you're free to think whatever you want to think. And I'm not tripping, man. I'm not tripping.